Okay, welcome everyone to the 1:30 meeting, Wednesday meeting. I think we got a bid opening. We'll start with
That's
that. Okay.
Hi, this is Kelly Dombrowski, Clerk of the Board. We have a bid opening for 28 100 by 200 scrim reinforced polyethylene geomembranes. I said that right? The first one is from Ferguson Waterworks. Their total is $49,057.51. The next one is from Northwest Linings and Geotextile Products Incorporated. This one is $118,299.57. The next one is for Titan Earthwork. Their total is $34,870.24. And that's the conclusion of the bid opening.
Okay. What?
That was 34,000 or 100?
For Titan Earthwork, it was $34,870.24.
Yeah. Okay, one other quick thing. So, because we spoke at a previous meeting, Commissioner Weber went over to a WASAC meeting in Ellensburg. We noted it as the 19th and 20th September. It was actually the 18th to the 20th September, just so we're on record that we have the correct dates.
It did turn out that there was a Timber Counties caucus meeting that I wasn't aware of. That was the day before. So
Yeah.
I did go on the 18th.
So we just want to make that correction on record. All right. Public Works.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mike Moss, Public Services Director. We just have a few items on our agenda today. The first one is National Hunting and Fishing Day update. That event happened this last Saturday, the 28th at the gun range. I was out of town, but Steve Nelson did send me an email over the weekend stating that was a great turnout. I believe around 400 participants at the grounds. Said that nothing but compliments of how the grounds looked and how it was ran by Couts Game and Anglers. It was in coordination with Washington Fish and Wildlife. So they had trout ponds. You were able to shoot on the 100 or the 300-yard range, but also trap shooting. Also, an archery range was open. So sounded like they had a couple food vendors on site, but it sounded like everything went really well. So they had good weather on Saturday also. So good event for the county out there.
So are we in line for high school competitions? Has that started yet or?
I know that was a plan for having those 2 extra trap houses out there, was to get more local high schools in the trap competition. But I'll ask Steve. That's a great question. If they've actually got more going there, and I know there's a big county event coming in the next couple of weeks, and it filled up within hours So I know it's very popular.
So I do know that Kelso High School is trying to get a group together because I received a flyer about it because my son attends the high school. So I know some of the high schools are looking at starting programs.
I suppose some would say there's a certain amount of irony for having schools sponsoring gun clubs, but
Yeah.
we are Calhoun County.
We are.
My day, we just had them in our truck.
Same here.
Yeah.
Item number 2, you have a picture of the North Hall of Justice parking lot that got resurfaced over the weekend and striped on Sunday. Did new risers on the storm drains and cleaned those out prior to the work done by Lakeside Industries. So we'll know during our first winter event how well.
Rain tonight.
How well it drains,
Supposed to be
correct,
tonight,
exactly,
yeah.
yep. So we'll monitor that and staff we have our vac truck with Public Works, so if we have any issues, we'll deal with that when it comes along, but they said they should be cleaned out, at least till they meet Kelso's system.
Great.
So that's the last of our parking lots around HOJ. We did the other lots last summer, including HHS. So on the books is the north parking lot here at the admin building, summer of 2025. And we're already, we talked about before in conversations with the city of Kelso, if we can do something in coordination with the street
Yeah.
to our west.
Looks like they're getting their repairs and stuff done in time for coordination. I hope the two agencies can work together.
We agree, yeah. And you asked a question a few weeks ago about all the potholing around here and some, their staff reached out to the city of Kelso. It looks like most of that's for natural gas. Yes.
And since I park in that lower parking lot, I'm walking over those potholes all the time. And the patches, you can tell there's a depth still. So
Correct.
I'm hoping that's temporary because they're going to overlay the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it'd be
I
nice to
don't
do it
know.
all at once.
I mean, after all, the county does pay an awful lot of taxes to Kelso. Not.
Late season construction projects, working on Lakeside Industries to finish our overlay. Some of the projects we held off in the South County due to the work that was done on I-5. One of the roads we're working on with overlay was Green Mountain. And so I believe they're going to try to do that.
I just talked to the construction
Perfect. I'll let
manager
you do it.
before we left to come up here. He said they are anticipating being done with Green Mountain and Shirley Gordon today.
Hmm.
They have moved up their grinder. They were originally going to try and do Little Climber River Road grind in the overlay on Friday, but because of the potential for rain on Friday, they have moved that up till tomorrow. So if all things align, we should be done with overlay by the end of the day tomorrow.
Great.
So the other two projects we have going on that you have pictures of, there's the Eric Creek culvert that is out on Abernathy Creek Road. That is underway. They have installed the new arch and they are working right now on forming up the head and wing walls so that they can get out of the stream, re-release the stream into the pipe. And this is from a few days ago or a week ago. They have started backfilling around the culvert itself so that they can start moving traffic back on there as soon as they're clear of the wing walls. So that is anticipated for completion by Christmas. It's going to be my Christmas present to you guys.
So the flow of the water in this picture is from left to right? I'm guessing, or the other way around? I can't tell where the creek is.
It's from right to left.
Okay.
Based on the sign, that's how
So behind that generator must be the creek,
yes.
okay, or Abernathy Creek.
Yeah.
And the other one is up. Okay.
So they're moving along on that project. We did have to get an extension for our HPA because we were supposed to have the creek reinstalled by yesterday. But we had got an extension because we're already out there working and are moving along to getting that done.
Just to satisfy my own personal curiosity, how deep do they drive these to to hold the load they think it's gonna hold, do you know,
For the wall or for the
Yeah.
culvert?
The wall.
for the wall?
Okay, for the wall. So the other pictures are Hazeldale Wall. That's, they drove those. I don't know the number off the head. They're usually, the piles generally are 20 to 30 feet long, the ones that we're installing.
That you're installing?
Yeah, so these are actually bored shafts, so they bore them down. They drop that H pile into a casing to about where the ground level is on the front. They fill that out of concrete, and then they come along behind and drop those laggings,
Yeah,
those lag panels. Right now, they've filled up behind the lag panels, and they have started installing, these are tie-back anchors. So they're big wires that they.
that's what I was
drill-
gonna ask. These
Yeah.
holes must be for ties.
They're for the ties,
Yeah.
and they're in the process of drilling those back in, so then they'll get them CDF'd in, and we will do testing in about a week. This project is anticipated to be done in the next month by Veterans Day. They should be up and out of
Cool.
Hazeldale.
Yeah. And you must be done with Hazeldale. Seems like you've been improving Hazeldale for as long as I've been on the
Oh,
commission.
no,
huh?
no, we have other things going on Hazeldale. As a matter of fact, we just,
Oh, wait, I'm confusing Delameter with Hazeldale.
well, no, we've got Delameter going too. There's always something to do on these roads. We got a couple big culverts on Hazeldale that we're looking for grant money, and Delameter, we have a couple big culverts that we did receive grant money, and we're starting on those projects. So fall season coming up in the next few weeks. So you should be seeing the bid for guardrail, because that's good winter work for our contractors, because they're done working all of these jobs. So the contractors like it. So we're going to do the unit bid contract which is our repair contract. And then we have a safety contract coming out also. We just received our comments back from WashDOT, so we're finalizing the contract with the safety money.
So I think it was 3 years ago that the Tower Road blew out at Rock Creek.
Yes.
Where are we with the other crossings that date back to a similar type of construction that might be subject to the same kind of undercutting from our wonderful Toutle River?
So part of what we have our summer help doing is creating a beautiful inventory and rating all of those. One of the engineers goes out with them. For the first couple of days, they go out and teaches them how to rate them per a standard rating manual. And they are building a GIS layer and telling us which ones are bad and trying to guess what age they are, what the condition is, what their age is, and their location. And so we're working on that database. We're about 40% of the way through the county. So it's been a multi-year project for us. So we have found a few culverts that some of them are smaller, that the road crews, so like 24-inch diameters. They just did 2 up on Carnine that we've discovered this summer that they replaced because we're in the dry. So they replaced those, and we're working on getting a better handle on our big culverts like that are potentially being undercut.
And of course, we kind of anticipate problems this year with Toutle Park Road. That's where the big bend is, and
Yes.
and a lot of velocity there. Has there been much conversation in preparing the neighbors for a
We-
lot of threats or?
We haven't had a lot of talks with the neighbors. We do have our 30%, we have our survey done and are working on our 30% alignment, so we can start reaching out to the 3 property owners that our proposed extension would go through. They have been contacted. This is what we're thinking of doing. I can certainly have our right-of-way agents reach out to the people at the down near the bend that would be cut off to tell them that, hey, we do realize this is a problem, and we're working on an emergency plan, and hopefully we'll be long. If we can get ourselves to somewhere between 30 and 60% design, if it goes this year, it's
Mhm.
more of a okay, let's finish it as a design build project, work with the contractor, just get it out there and get something in and do emergency permitting.
It is, it's kind of interesting that there is a lot of money for emergency relief that we can get
Mhm.
right away. But one could make the argument, we've known this is going to be happening for
Yeah.
a year. Is it really an emergency when it actually happens?
Right.
And then we don't get the money because it's not really an emergency.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
You do the right kind of
I
thing and
agree
you
with
plan
you.
ahead, but then you.
I agree with you. They should put some stock in our, in the folks, you know,
Yeah.
and say, okay, you see this coming up, because it saves you in the long run.
Yeah.
It saves all of us in the long run.
We could probably issue an emergency declaration now.
Yeah.
if we need to.
And we did apply, so Washington State Emergency Management had out their letters of intent for flood mitigation projects and building resilient infrastructure in communities is what they called it, which will end up being a national competition, but we applied with a letter of intent for that project and see if we get through their rating, because that is the intent of that program. When you see something that, okay, this is a problem where an area where we always have issues, or this is an area where you could see failing, that you can get ahead of it. And that is, so we were looking at that route, that was submitted last week.
And that's kind of a new approach, isn't it?
Yes, it's
No,
newer.
New, yeah.
So we applied 2 years ago for a different location with out on Fish Pond Road where it goes under quite often. We were an alternate project. So we decided to pivot this year because this is a much more emergent need to try for that project.
Mhm.
So,
Have we not had, since I've been here, probably even right before I got here, at least two, tower, obviously,
mhm.
one where we knew culvert, we were worried about that thing, and then all of a sudden, boom. And isn't Pleasant Hill or Mount Pleasant, I forget the name of it.
Yes, Pleasant
That
Hill
was
is
the
out.
same thing, right?
It,
Pretty much.
pretty much. Yeah, that one was an older culvert that just kind of
We knew it
failed
had
because
some
of high
issues,
water.
and then
Yes.
It was just a matter of time, so. I
It
think
wasn't a
Commissioner
victim
Weber's
of
spot
being
on.
undercut by a stream bed like Tootle Park is. It just was an old
There's
aging
no-
facility that just,
That
because
was.
there's not much of a grade there for that creek.
No, but there was a lot of backwater when it eroded out because of the way it sits. Salmon Creek comes down, crosses I-5, runs parallel I-5 and makes a sharp 90 to go under this
Yeah,
culvert.
yeah.
And at that sharp 90, when we had excuse me, we had a larger flow and backwater, it helped undercut that. And so that was in a disaster that was declared in Lewis and other counties. So that particular culvert, we do have FEMA funding to replace, and we're working through the FEMA process to get the permanent solution in.
Will that end up looking a little bit like the Eric Creek approach?
Yeah, that'll be no, actually, we're doing a short span, a bridge on that one. Because of the floodplain issues out there, we had to get ourselves up a little higher in that location.
And the Eric Creek is just a big half culvert, right?
Yes.
A span's not necessary because there's just not that traffic that would require that kind of.
It's the
Extra work.
span. Yeah, the span is based on the creek flow, actually not the traffic.
Oh.
So what you see in that picture will be filled up to the bottom of the metal within a simulated stream bottom. It's just more difficult. The scour was a problem at Pleasant Hill because of that 90-degree bend it has to take. So building the piers the way they're planning on doing it is a better solution in that location than this. Cost-wise, they're pretty close. It's just depending on the location, which will give you the longevity.
So the highway engineer who designed that 90-degree turn didn't understand,
No.
must not have understood.
It was a WashDOT engineer because it was put in as a frontage road when I-5 went in.
Right. Not to cast aspersions on their professionalism, but
And
they may not have had that much experience with
With
you know.
stream flows, yes. And things have changed, the state of the, I mean, that was the sixties and seventies. I think that one went in the sixties. So
Yeah.
things have changed, how we view stuff because we used to manhandle things. I mean, when they built I-5, they cut off the Lewis River and created Horseshoe Lake.
I thought the
That's
federal
true.
government said you're not supposed to use phrases like that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Manhandling.
Manhandling. We manipulate nature to our desires. Is that better?
And how's
Playing
that,
by
and
design?
how's that work out? Rarely.
Rarely it works out, and
Yeah.
as we're discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully no further problems. I think we just have 2 temporary bridges, right? And they're both in use?
We actually have 3 temporary bridges.
3?
The
So we
third
have a
one,
spare?
no, it's actually in use also because it is permanently installed on the Ostrander bypass. So the bridge on that bypass is actually our bridge. That's a twin to the one that's out on Pleasant Hill.
We got 3 temporary bridges. We need to get one done.
Ostrander, another WashDOT gift to engineering.
No, I think that might have been ours, but it does back up from I-5, but I think it's a Cowlitz River gift.
Curiosity, because I think they have the drain, where we had the sinkhole in Kelso?
Yes.
And it was traced back to our leachate pipe. Has that all been settled or are we still working on that?
So the result of that was it was an unmarked storm drain
Right.
that came from the highway. It was never marked, either located when we built the road or the leachate pipe or when Kelso went out to do the locates. So it is now in between Kelso and WashDOT because WashDOT is saying, well, that road was a turnback, so everything in the right of way, that storm drainage is yours. So that is who's responsible has shifted purely to WashDOT and the city of Kelso because it was never located. So if it's not located, we can't know it's there. So
Okay. So.
You can't give something
it's
to
fixed,
somebody
but
if you
those
don't
two
tell
are-
them.
well, they told them they gave them the road and all the utilities, but I don't know. I haven't seen the drawings, so I don't know how well that culvert was shown.
Usually there's an inventory of what's in it, right? And that doesn't
Yes.
happen. Okay.
So it's fixed and they're just having a back and forth. of
Right.
Who's going to pay for it?
And I can't remember, I haven't been over there. I don't remember if they've put the final patch of the asphalt on or not. I know they had a temporary in originally.
Did our pipeline break? the
Ours
leachate?
did
It
not.
did not break, okay.
No, we had no damage to our pipe and we made sure before they did the work that our leachate was done because we turned it off. Because originally they thought our leachate line was what was leaking.
Mhm.
We turned off up at the landfill. They pumped it down. We turned the leachate line back on and watched it because it takes half an hour or so from the landfill to get down here. And nothing came out of the pipe and you could hear it running. So then we just continued operating as normal.
Our
So
pipe wasn't leaking or
yeah,
anything?
no, there was no damage to our pipe.
All right.
So Mike, I wanted to go back to the geomembrane bids. We had an engineer's estimate of cost of being well over $100,000. And you got 2 really low bids. What's your approach to resolving it? I mean, obviously, I'd be suspicious of accepting the lowest bid if it's not the right product.
Correct. Yeah, that's, when we hear them that low, no matter what the project is below the engineer's estimate, that's when we really check the numbers, see if the math adds up. If they missed a number here or there, or didn't get the quantity correct along the way. So, and then if they did, then we'll usually have to dismiss those 2.
Yeah.
So we'll grab those from the clerk of the board and take a closer look to see where we're at.
I mean, having 2 that are so low.
Yeah, exactly. When it's
that's
just
kinda
one.
like, okay, something else is going on there.
Correct.
There also may be a vagueness in the specs and you can reject all and rework the specifications.
Who won the bid last time? Was
Don't-
anybody on this list?
Yeah, I
believe-
don't
It might have
know.
been Northwest Linings. They
Yeah.
usually are the lowest when they were I believe the
The
highest.
Interesting.
Or the only
Yeah.
responsive one.
Might have been, correct. Yeah.
we almost saw kind of a similar thing last week where one was way out. Remember? Phoenix Security, actually Phoenix was,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, remember how it was so
That's
far
right.
different than the others? And
We haven't heard the
then
resolution.
it goes
on
to
that
the
yet.
county people and they figure out
They'll figure it out.
how it all works.
Yeah. I believe that's the same with our roof at the annex we had. Now, ranges from 200 to $400,000 on one rooftop, so.
I just wanted to clarify that one of those was a bid from last week that we just received today. So I'm assuming that that's the high one.
Oh.
And the other two were for the high density polyethylene pipe. So the lower ones were for that.
Oh, so these were
two different bid openings.
Two different
Yeah,
bids.
and it-
Oh,
It
Okay.
wasn't
that-
noticed because they look very similar.
That makes more sense.
That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the two lower ones were the pipe and Northwest Linings was for the liner or for the
The lining,
tarps.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
the liners, the tarps were due last week.
Yeah, I believe they were last week and it must not have made it
Correct.
because we just got it today.
Thank you.
I thought we did something with tarps because we were asking questions on how long they last and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah. So it makes, but yeah, those are close together than those other two. This makes more sense. Yeah.
And thank you for putting Westover Drive on the list. I was not aware of that. And a planning gift that keeps on giving. You build it, you approve permits in a canyon, it gets built up and you've got excessive flows, right?
Yes, and so I spoke with Dan Hayden, who's that area's supervisor, and they have cleaned the grates and they intend to clean them again before the rain starts. He is also trying to get in contact with the one property owner that he needs to get on the property to get the beaver dams out, but he has not successfully done that yet. So, and he was reaching out to Ms.
Etsy,
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So yesterday he
okay.
called to let her know what his plans were and when they'd see her out there. So he wanted to wait till right before the rain started to clean it out as best as he could.
And the beaver ponds are, it sounds like the same area than the past, and we've had permission from that same property owner to cross to go to do this, to do that work. Unfortunately, they've been unable to connect the last few weeks trying to get permission. So they left a business card on his doorstep this last, I think, Monday or Tuesday of this week. If not, they'll keep trying until they get permission because we do get, I think he said there's 2 or 3, they believe beavers working out there. So we have the contract to help relocate those beavers.
I'd say it's good news for juvenile salmon, but I'm not sure that's a salmon bearing stream. Pretty tough to get under the the highway.
Yeah. And the railroad tracks.
I think that one's better than a lot. There isn't a gate on that one, to my
There's not?
knowledge.
Okay.
It does not have a flat gate on that particular crossing.
On the railroad side, at the railroad?
No, there's
Over
no
the
flat
highway?
gate on that
Hmm.
because that's not in a district, a diking district. So I do not believe that one's controlled.
I thought Ken Stone said that it was, but it
I'll-
might not be our jurisdiction because it would be state highway.
The state highway, yeah, I'll double check that, but I was my recollection that that one, because it wasn't in a district, was not controlled.
It is ironic to me personally, because Westover Creek was the first big constituent complaint that I got when I took office in 2013. And I did a lot of research and even produced a slideshow and talked about all the stuff we'd tried over the years. And Ken was a great resource for that. But it was a while ago and we hadn't had any complaints, so I figured everything was fine. And then she said that the lake said not dried out like they were expecting, so. Thank you.
No, appreciate you passing that on, and we usually try to jump on that, but our Longview supervisor usually watches that pretty closely. We know it's one of the highlight areas or issue areas. That's why we already have the pre-made signs that we just have to flip down saying water over roadways, because we prepared knowing that each winter it's kind of unfortunately do
Come
that way.
over, yeah.
I think we're about maybe 3 feet in elevation too high to connect that drainage ditch with the one that goes by the old water treatment plant. Just a little bit too high. I mean, that would be an ideal to keep it from getting into the river at all, but it has to back up.
Yeah, once that river gets to a certain height, then it's, yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. I have one item that wasn't on there is the coolness of this facility and also annex the boiler replacement last week. There's a relay that it needs to be ordered and it's actually ordered and being shipped. I'm waiting to hear a confirmation if it's coming today or tomorrow, hopefully the next day or two, get that relay in there. We'll get heat back on this facility. So I apologize. Probably a project we've been waiting a while on this project. Actually got the boilers delivered in February to Spokane. They came here, but back to Spokane. We had some issues initially with those. We had to make sure, get it tested and everything was good before we started the project here. We'd love to start this project a month ago. It just was timing wasn't going to happen. If hoping to get in place here shortly, that way we get ready for the winter months. So we apologize. I'll actually get an email out later this afternoon to give everybody in this building an update of where we're at.
So you mentioned you're waiting for some equipment or some,
Apart.
it's not coming from the East Coast, is it? Where the longshoremen
Didn't
are
sound
on
like
strike?
it. No, actually, it had already been shipped, and I think it came from a warehouse in Spokane.
Hmm.
And they tracking it, can't find it. So I think they may have just tried to reorder it.
Oh,
I'll just drive to Spokane and get it if I have
It
to.
might be easier. I was teasing the clerk that is gonna wrestle her for her blanket. It became real obvious that I would lose that.
I know we had the portable heater on there earlier, so we apologize for the noise, but hopefully by next week, you won't have to worry about it in the building here. If not, I'll go buy some parkas.
Thanks.
There's always my office. It's 76 degrees in there.
76 in yours, no
Mhm.
matter what.
No matter what, it's 76 degrees.
Well, you wouldn't yell at your staff all the time.
You're right. I'll have to work on that.
I don't know what happens. My office is perfect.
It seems like no matter where I sit in the office, it's always the hot spot. So there's some theory that it's me.
There could be.
I'm not even gonna go there.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
Thank
we
you.
don't have anything till 2:30, so we'll just,
Okay.
I will recess this till 2:30 when we have, I'm assuming we still have IT and risk management coming in. Okay.
Yeah, I believe Sean Roy from our office will be here at 2:30 also in case there's any questions. I believe when they do any of the finance.
Okay.
So I was looking at the pictures from the Hazel Dell project, and I can't quite make out the operator of that,
Well, you know,
that
you know,
shovel.
it, as much as I'd like it, it's not.
It's
me.
not, it's not you. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
I've
just
always,
wanted to double check.
if I hadn't gone into an office, I would have been doing something like this, because I always enjoyed that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But yeah, I know, I was looking down there and said, dang it.
It's probably too small to take out on the Tootle to fix their issue also.
Yeah.
Chances are you'd have a better chance of actually helping the county out, but you'd have to join the union.
Okay, back from recess. Our 2:30 meeting. Looks like there's a few things under budget review. Okay.
Yeah, so Kathy Funk Baxter, Finance Director. And so this workshop is pretty much dedicated to discuss cost allocations, those internal service departments that have costs that we allocate across many of the departments. So I selected the top 4 that we have. And the first one is our motor pool. And basically the motor pool has a methodology for the billing.